So this time of year you might have a new camera to get to grips with, and chances are it came with a kit lens. Perhaps the 16 to 50mm f3.5 to 5.6. This lens is a great starter lens, but its limitations can become apparent very quickly. So in this video we're going to look at 5 of the more affordable next lenses you could choose for your Sony APS-C camera. First up is the Viltrox autofocus 35mm f1.7 lens. This lens performs really well. It has a minimum focus distance of 0.33 meters and a 45-degree viewing angle. Its lightweight build is just 170 grams and it's designed for APS-C cameras, making it have an effective focal length of around 52mm. The autofocus is quick with minimal focus breathing, and the image quality is impressive for the price of just $179. At f1.7 aperture, it's sharp in the centre and surprisingly sharp even at the edges of your images. As this is a prime lens, you can't zoom in or out, but that f1.7 aperture makes it really great for portrait photography and means that you can get really good out of focus backgrounds. It has excellent low light performance for indoor or nighttime shooting. In summary, the Viltrox 35mm f1.7 is a high quality, budget friendly lens offering sharp images and great autofocus. It has strong low light performance, all for just $179. So this has been a really strong, excellent first option. Next up, we're going to look at the TTArtisan 27mm f2.8 for $160. This is a pancake style lens and is incredibly small, just about 2.5 centimeters deep, which is around an inch. It's made of aluminium and plastic, and it features an aperture ring with notched travel. And the minimum focus distance with this one is just 0.35 meters or 1.15 feet. Priced at just $160, this lens stands out for its affordability. The image quality for this lens is solid for a lens in this price range. Photos, again, are sharp in the centre with decent sharpness at the edges. However, there is noticeable vignetting at wider apertures. This is the darkening around the edges of your images. The 27mm focal length, which is the equivalent of around 40mm on a full-frame camera, makes this a versatile lens for landscape photography and travel photography, and is even pretty decent in low light because of that widest aperture of f2.8. Having an autofocus on such a small lens is a huge plus at this price point. Now, while that autofocus is never going to be as fast as a native Sony lens, it's accurate enough for most uses. The autofocus motor is, however, a little noisy, which might be an issue for video, and there were occasions where the lens failed to focus entirely, but this was a very rare edge case. I do think the Artisan 27mm f2.8 is a fantastic option for those who want a portable, affordable lens for travel and general use. It's very portable, and whilst not flawless, $160 is very affordable and hard to beat. There are many other budget lenses at this price point that don't compete. So again, this is a prime lens so that you remember that you are fixed to that one focal length, but definitely a great option if you're looking for a very compact setup. Okay, let's move on to the third one. And this one, we're going to look at another Viltrox lens, which is the Viltrox 56mm autofocus f1.7. Priced at $180, this lens is designed for APS-C cameras, giving an equivalent of 84mm focal length, which means it'll seem a lot more zoomed in than the other lenses we've looked at so far. This is ideal for subject photography, such as portraits, and will get very professional looking background blur for your portraits. This is still a pretty compact lens, weighs just under 200 grams, and is around the same size as the 35mm lens we looked at previously. This has a minimum focus distance of 0.55 meters or 1.8 feet, so it's much more suited for portraits and photography like that rather than close-up photography. The autofocus is a pleasant surprise again on this lens, nice and quick and accurate, though do remember, as with all these lenses so far, there's been no built-in image stabilization, so can be a little shaky when you are recording video. The image quality is a pleasant surprise from this lens. At that maximum aperture of f1.7, it delivers very sharp images. Again, this really is a good lens for portraits and has great sharpness in the center of images and is decent enough at the edges. There is noticeable vignetting around the edges of shots whilst shooting wide open at f1.7, but you can improve this by stepping down to around f4. At the widest aperture of f1.7, you do get particularly smooth background blur, and it does have very good low light performance, making it a versatile lens for both indoor and nighttime photography as well. This lens is nice and sharp, and at $180 really is a fantastic budget lens, delivering sharp images, accurate autofocus, and great low light performance. This is probably the best choice on this list for a budget portrait lens. So the next lens we're going to look at is an absolute classic in the APS-C lens space. This is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. Now, what you might be thinking with this lens, once I mention the price, is that it is a little bit more expensive. Brand new, this lens is around $390. Not exactly budget, but you can pick it up secondhand for around $290. I appreciate that is still more than the other lenses here, but this is a very good quality lens, so worth considering if you need a lens like this. So definitely should be worth considering. It's been a staple of recommendations for APS-C cameras for a good reason. The 16mm focal length means that it is very wide, much wider than the other lenses we've looked at so far, meaning you'll fit more in your shot with your camera closer. This lens is perfect recording in smaller spaces, such as bedrooms, and is perfect for YouTube. In fact, I'm using this lens to make this video right now. It can make your facial features look a little bit exaggerated if you're a little bit too close up, so sit a little bit further back and get a little bit more in the background. It does make for a great vlog lens in that regard because you get that nice wide coverage of your shot. This lens's low light performance is really very good. At the maximum aperture of f1.4, this lens is letting in an awful lot of light, meaning that it is a great performer indoors, low light, nighttime, in all those situations. And remember, at 16mm, it's just as wide as the kit lens, but has a much wider aperture, meaning your shots will have less grain. The image quality is super sharp with this lens, probably the sharpest lens on the list, making it a big step up from the kit lens. The autofocus is nice and fast, and should always be able to keep up with a moving scene. The autofocus does have a little bit of sound, but in most situations, again, this won't be noticeable. So yeah, as I mentioned, the price unfortunately isn't the cheapest on this list by a long shot. $390 new, but trust me, you'll be able to find plenty of these much cheaper. Around $290 is a good spot for this lens, and if you're lucky, you'll probably find it even cheaper than that. This lens really is high quality, so if you need a wider angle lens, this one should be right at the top of your list. It's a really great choice for an upgrade from the kit lens if you don't need a zoom, but need super sharp images and a wide angle lens that provides excellent background blur. So the next lens we're going to look at, other end of the scale, is the cheapest lens on this list. And this is the Viltrox Autofocus 28mm f4.5 FE pancake lens. This costs just $99. This lens is a pancake style lens, making it incredibly compact, weighing just 60 grams and measuring just 1.5 centimeters in length. This lens is primarily made of plastic, making it really lightweight. It even doesn't have a separate lens cap, it's just built into the lens itself. It has a fixed focal length of 28mm, which will have a 35mm equivalent on APS-C cameras. It has a minimum focus distance of 0.32 meters or 1.05 feet and a fixed aperture of f4.5. While this limits low light performance and the ability to have good quality out of focus backgrounds, it's a fair trade-off for its tiny size. Autofocus is a really nice feature on this lens. Of course, it's not the absolute fastest autofocus in the world, but you are dealing with a super cheap, super compact lens. It's impressively priced at just $99, making it an incredible deal. The image quality is decent for such a small, inexpensive lens. Of course, it's not going to be the sharpest lens on this list, and it's really just the center of the images that are sharp enough. But if you're after something super cheap and compact, it's definitely worth considering. You may have noticed from the FE part of the naming convention, this means it's a full frame lens. And don't worry, yes, this will work on your APS-C cameras. In fact, the reason that I've included it on this list is that I find it's actually a better performer on an APS-C camera compared to a full frame camera. When used on an APS-C camera, for example, this lens does have a lot of vignetting on a full frame camera. As the APS-C camera doesn't use the entirety of the full frame shot and cuts in, it actually cuts out a lot of that vignetting and darkening of your shots. So yes, even though it's more cut in, it's actually missing out a lot of the negative points of this lens, effectively resulting in a sharper overall image. Whilst the f4.5 aperture isn't ideal for low light, or the background blur isn't particularly great, close-up shots can achieve some decent separation between your subject and the background. For $99, this 28mm f4.5 lens is a fantastic choice, again, especially for APS-C cameras, which is why I've included it. Super lightweight, super affordable option, really good for street photography, travel photography, where you want to have the smallest setup possible. So that is 5 lenses, but wait, I've got one little extra for you. The bonus number 6, just in case you're interested in a little step up in price and quality. And this one, of course, is the Sigma Autofocus 18-50 f2.8 lens. Now, this lens does cost $485 new. Yes, I've broken the rule. It's not budget, but I didn't want to walk away from this video without including a good quality zoom lens. And the Sigma 18-50 is a versatile zoom lens that offers a full frame equivalent lens of 27-75mm, a really great lens and almost identical to the zoom range you get with the kit lens. But the constant maximum aperture of f2.8 means that it will have much better sharpness, much better low light performance, much better background blur. It's generally just an all-round upgrade from the kit lens. So of course that price of $485 is not the cheapest, but start looking around on eBay and second-hand places because they are starting to appear a little cheaper. So worth picking up, especially if you can get it at a good reduction. This lens is almost always my go-to when I can only take one lens away and I'm doing something like going on a holiday vacation where I can't take a lot of stuff with me, just want travel shots, not looking for really professional shots, but wanting to be able to get all the different types of shots that I want. It's always the one that I go for so that I can cover a really versatile zoom range. It's great for portraits, it's good for landscapes, it's good for street photography. It's just a really good all-rounder with excellent sharpness in the center and to the edges of your images. That wide aperture of f2.8, of course, isn't as wide as the prime lenses that we've looked at on this list, but its low light performance is still really good and it still provides decent background blur. Of course, like all the lenses, there's no stabilization, but this lens really does come into its own in its overall versatility. The Sigma 18-50 is a fantastic all-purpose lens with a great zoom range and excellent image quality, and it's a great option for an upgrade from the kit lens. So there we have it, 6 affordable options for APS-C lenses. Maybe one of them wasn't quite as affordable. Are there any lenses that I should have included on this list? Let me know in the comments, and if I haven't tested them already, I'll test them on the channel. But if you're finding limitations with the kit lens, upgrading to one of these lenses will seriously help improve the quality of your photography and video on your APS-C camera.